Hello and welcome to another marvelous video. I'm your host Will. Ever since we first saw Boba Fett in The Empire Strikes Back, the armor he wore has captured the imagination of many. But what are the facts about it? Well, in this video, we're gonna go over such facts about the Mandalorian armor as seen in the various Star Wars shows. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is the way. I have been amazed and awed by several aspects of the Star Wars lore, but few have fascinated me as much as the Mandalorians and their rituals. If you're familiar with the Mandalorian culture, you'll know it's all about the importance of the Mandalorian armor, which is the most recognizable symbol of their culture. We've seen this full-body armor worn by the Mandalorian warriors on several occasions, and it also happens to be one of the 6 tenets that define their culture, where wearing the armor is non-negotiable. But what is it that makes the armor so unique? And why do some sects have strict rules about the usage of this armor? In this video, I will try to explore the mysteries of this powerful and rigid armor that can be both a boon and a curse for the one who wears it. Exploring the Mandalorian armor and its significance in their culture. I started this video by saying that this armor is a crucial part of the Mandalorian culture, and it is actually an easily identifiable tool in an expansive community that comprises beings from various origins. Regardless of species or gender, you will see the similar armor on all Mandalorians, even though the rules of the armor might vary depending upon the sect. Of course, the armor has developed over the years, and some more sophisticated features have been added with time. But the core strength and importance have remained the same. The appearance of the armor was up to the individuals, and they could customize their armor with different colored paint schemes and clan and unit sigils that set them apart, even though the overall look of the armor would remain the same. As for the design, it has undergone a major change in the 7 millennia since the Tong first settled on the planet Mandalore. The Crusader armor was the first recognizable version, worn during the Great Sith War, and its jagged, organic form varied from soldier to soldier. The Mandalorians have always considered melee combat to be the most honorable form of battle, and the original armor was designed accordingly. Slowly, the armor evolved, and during the reign of Mandalore the Ultimate, the Neo-Crusader armor was designed as a heavier variant. This armor came in 4 colors that were assigned according to rank, and eventually, the armor was also seen in the hands of the Outer Rim pirates during the conflict between the Sith Empire and Galactic Republic. Millennia later, the Mandalorian Super Commando armor was developed to replace all the older designs and make it stronger and more durable. This was no longer a full-body armor, but partial armor that left limbs undefended. This new armor came with powerful blast-resistant plates, but the focus was on important areas like the torso, head, and groin. Also, a waterproof armor-weave flight suit made it stronger as a liner shirt with a micro-energy field projector, and 2 layers of ceramic plates improved protection around the chest, back, and stomach. The Mandalorians understood the importance of extra weapons mounted on the suit, and some simple weapons like grappling wires, wrist-mounted rocket launchers, and flamethrowers were added to the assault capabilities. Many Mandalorians even wore cloaks outside their armor. What is the armor made of that makes it so durable? I would say that the Mandalorian armor stands out among most other forms of armor because of one important thing, which is its insane durability. It's made of Beskar, which is supposed to be so strong that it can withstand strikes from a lightsaber. Yes, it can eventually be cut and damaged, but the armor will buy the wearer enough time. However, some people's armor actually survives these hits while others die from a single blast, and this difference is likely because of the purity of the Beskar used. Some like Din and Boba Fett used pure Beskar, while some others used composite alloys because that is all they could find. During the Galactic Civil War, the Death Watch combined with the Black Sun to manufacture a new version of the armor called Crusader Mark III, which was made from alum. The secret of making the armor from Mandalorian iron was kept within the clans for years. Exploring a few common features of the Mandalorian armor design. I've explored all about the changes brought about by the Mandalorian armor and its development, but a few major features have remained constant. First, The wearer was always protected from the majority of blaster fire, and they were lightsaber resistant. Secondly, the helmets always possessed a T-shaped visor and a sophisticated heads-up display. Lastly, the Mandalorian warriors decorated their armor to reflect personal accomplishments, and they repainted the armor to reflect rank or to honor relatives. If you take the Clone Wars lore into account, then the colors had proper significance, such as gray signifying loss of a lover and red honoring a parent. Black meant justice and gold meant vengeance, while green and blue signified duty and reliability respectively. The helmet is the most important part of the armor. I've always found the Mandalorian helmet to be the most distinctive part of their whole armor, and as it turns out, it is also one of the most important. It serves as the control center for the suit's abilities, or at least a bulk of it. For instance, a rangefinder attached to the helmet was an upgrade that allowed the wearer to track up to 30 targets. The battle computer inside the helmet could control the weapons and sensors of the suit, and also the jetpack through verbal commands. The helmet comes with a pineal eye center that is combined with an internal overlay display to provide 360-degree tracking information. The helmet can also work as an environmental filter system, and it has a 2-hour reserve tank to provide breathable air for the Mandalorian warrior. What's the deal with never removing their armor? This has been a tricky topic, especially because we have seen the general presentation of Mandalorians across various factions throughout Star Wars, where it remains ambiguous if they're allowed to remove their armor or not. In fact, the show, The Mandalorian, introduced a faction of their kind who go by a strict rule of keeping their helmets on at all times. Din Djarin, who is loyal to the Creed, abides by this, and this is different from the Mandalorians that we have known from Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, because they could remove their helmets whenever they wanted to. So, the rule that Din Djarin abides by forbids him from removing his helmet. But the removal of other pieces of the armor have not been addressed. It is considered the way of the Mandalore for the helmets to not be removed, but it is not very clear when it comes to the other pieces of armor. The removal of the helmet is disregarded because it reveals one's identity, but we've seen Din Djarin removing the other pieces of his armor before because that wouldn't reveal his identity. It is important to note that not all Mandalorians go by this helmet removal rule, and most of them are not even sworn to the same creed as Din Djarin. The lucky ones get to breathe some fresh air without the risk of getting banished, while the likes of Din are always keen on going by the sacred ritual of keeping the helmet on at all times. The armor can be a double-edged sword. You're probably thinking by now that such a rigid and badass armor is a huge advantage for the one who wears it, but there are some literal chinks in the armor that are not discussed enough. For instance, have you ever wondered about shockwave and concussion trauma? So this is an armor that can withstand blaster bolts and lightsabers, which is great for the person in the suit. But what about the shock that it absorbs? Well, you can imagine this like a car that is built like a tank and doesn't get damaged upon impact. Guess what happens when it crashes? The impact is brought upon you as you sit inside, and similarly, when hit by heavy ordnance, the armor plate simply absorbs and transfers all that kinetic energy into the wearer's body, because it is completely rigid. Now, this force can be strong enough to cause some kind of fatal internal injury, even though it will seem like the metal itself has not been penetrated. Another thing that really bothers me about this particular armor is the glaring hygiene issue. For religious sects like the Children of the Watch, the creed dictates that the helmet can never be removed in front of others. Din Djarin himself has rarely ever removed his armor, and wearing a fully sealed suit of armor along with a helmet can take a toll on the body with a buildup of sweat and bacterial growth. I wouldn't want to stand next to him because imagine the smell of that. Ugh. Not to mention, as protective as the armor might be, there are still some physical gaps, and it doesn't cover 100% of the body. The joints, inner thighs, and neck regions require flexibility, and they leave some soft, unarmored spots that can be exposed and used against them. Lastly, no matter how powerful the armor is, there are always going to be a few weapons to penetrate. The arc pulse generator, for example, was built specifically to superheat Beskar armor that would turn the suit into an incinerator trap for the wearer. So, as you can see, this might be a potent and handy armor to have, but it is by no means invincible, and there are some glaring flaws that might be exploited. Even though there might be a few shortcomings, the number of times that I have seen the armor save someone's life is far too high. What could have been a very serious injury, or even death, has only resulted in a scratch, and the armor has done enough to warrant itself a sacred position in the life of the wearer. The recently released film also offers a few glimpses of the armor being a savior, and the show has many more such instances. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of the armor, and also share your views on how the armor can be made better. If you appreciate the efforts to bring you this content, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more such videos. Till next time, I have spoken.